Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story is one that's been covered in the past and you've probably seen it in other channels as well. There is a new and final update to this story, so if you do want to skip certain parts of it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description. A couple of trigger warnings to get us started as well. It's got mild ableism, mentions of physical violence and attempted suicide within the story, so please use those timestamps or skip the story if it's not for you. It's titled, Am I the Arsehole for not wanting to walk her down the aisle or lie in a speech? I, 41 male, have 2 kids with my ex-wife, 42 female, a son John, 22, and a daughter Sally, 20. I'm remarried to my wife, 28. I'm very close with my kids. My son is engaged to Abby. She seems nice but has been a bit pushy trying to create relationships with me and my wife, though she's also awkward with her. Abby isn't close to her family. She told us many stories why, and while some of her complaints don't seem awful, it's not my place to judge, and I didn't live it, so I can't know anyway. We've tried to be welcoming, but Abby has forced her way into some family traditions where she wouldn't have been invited, and some where no one outside of specific family would have. She has been calling Sally sis since they were only dating a few months. Has an odd sister/mother-in-law thing she does with my wife, and the one I'm not a fan of wants me to be like a father to her. Not because we've clicked or anything. We are very different people. Not saying that in a bad way, just saying it's not based on how we get along or anything. My kids and I have a tradition when they come over that we have a private catch-up in my office and study before they leave, which is now even more important to them because while they both get along well with my wife, they don't want to have personal conversations around her yet. Abby asked if we could talk, and after I explained the tradition, John later asked that I do it, saying she had never had a caring conversation with her dad. We compromised that I didn't include it in the tradition, but do join the 2 of them for coffee and let her talk. Then she started calling me dad. They weren't even engaged yet. John pulled me aside and begged me to give her that. Laid this whole thing on me about me always being the dad she always wanted, right in front of her. And she just wanted that. Told me she cried watching me and Sally together. She still gives me random hugs. I'm a lucky dad. I didn't like it, but I do feel bad, so fine. I gave her that. She wants me to walk her down the aisle and the father/daughter dance. I don't want to walk her down. I walk with a cane, so dancing is hard. At my own wedding, I only danced twice. John is begging for me to do one, preferably the aisle. They came over Sunday. John and I were talking. I thought to address it, when Ab walked in without knocking, asking if he had told me yet. I asked what. John said she wanted me to say something about having a second daughter now in my speech and how I loved her. I just looked at him. She asked if I'd do the walk and dance for Sally. I said of course. She yelled, "She's my daughter too," and I said it will never be the same. Sally is my actual daughter. I tried to explain I'd talk about her being a happy addition to the family, and I love how happy she makes Jack, which I thought was a good compromise, but she started crying. John apologized and they left, but he called me when they were home, nearly begging me to. Am I the arsehole because I won't lie and say I love her or she's my daughter? And OP was voted unanimously not the arsehole in this situation. Some people, feeling sorry for Abby and sounds like she's had, a lot of trouble in her past. Other people saying it sounds like what she's developed is very, very unhealthy in this situation and she probably needs some kind of therapy. But the majority of people just basically saying that you can't force a relationship in this way. It was 1.5 months later that the first update came in. It said, I'd planned on writing this sooner, but life got in the way in a couple of really good ways. But people were helpful and asked for updates. They have a surprise 3 days, so here it goes. Mother's Day, my kids and their parents go to visit my ex-wife. So it turns out my ex-wife and Abby are a lot closer than I realized. She calls her mum, which is part of where this comes from. Also, apparently my ex has been egging it on. On Mother's Day, they were talking about the wedding, and I guess whenever Abby referred to me, it was as Dad. My son apparently told her to let it go, which led to yelling. Abby about deserving to be my daughter. Ex telling her that she's right. Son telling her that I am trying and she should be realistic about things. Sally telling her that I only had one daughter, which was apparently a response to Abby saying to her that as my daughters, they should be united. According to my son, Abby was crying. According to Sally, she was crying and yelling and kicked something before going to her room. And Sally told me she went off on her mum, but would not elaborate, so I don't know what was actually said. But knowing Sally, whew boy. Around 2 a.m. I got a text from Sally's partner's phone saying, Abby really is great. She hasn't been perfect, but you should give her a chance and you will learn to love her. I saw it when I woke up and I tried to text her back, but was blocked. So I called Sally, but they were driving. They stopped by my place later that day because I'm on the way, and my daughter prefers my liquor and cooking, and they told me about the night before. At the end, I asked to speak to her partner alone. I asked if I had done something to upset her. She was confused and I told her I was blocked. She said I wasn't, but checked her phone and I was. And I said it was after a message and she asked what message. I showed her. It was not on her phone anymore. At that point, we brought in Sally and caught her up. Neither of them were happy. A couple of days later, John and Abby dropped by unannounced. Not something we really do in this family, but okay, fine. I had mad salmon, does not take long to cook. I cook 2 more, wife serves while I make drinks. The entire night was Abby trying to bring up the wedding, John trying to change the subject, Abby not allowing that. We talk logistics because I'm helping them get some good deals through some professional contacts I have. When finally she just says, so I was talking to Mum. She said that you can walk me down the aisle and she'll do the dance, or you can do the dance and she'll walk. It's your call, but you need to choose soon. I reiterated that I could not dance. She tried arguing that I had danced a little at my wedding, but I made it clear that this is different and did not feel comfortable walking her. She got upset and said, Mum loves me, why can't you? I felt bad, but couldn't lie. I pointed out that she had John who loved her, my ex-wife, friends. She had people who love her. She said, but other than ex-wife, those aren't my parents. I said, neither am I. She was very emotional, so my wife and I gave them a few minutes. My son and I were alone later. He looked exhausted. He said the problem was that after Mother's Day, Abby had called Sally and kept saying they are both my daughters. That I did not get to be close with one but not both, and that it was them against me. But at that one, Sally cried havoc and let slip the dogs of war. Things were said, grievances were aired. John had to hang up before it got worse. But I guess Abby was shaken, but there was a new problem. Abby had decided in her head that I did not mean what I had been saying and was just doing it for Sally. He told me he would handle it. Ron Howard? He did not. So I get texts from Abby every couple of days acting like we have a secret relationship Sally doesn't know about. She even called herself my secret daughter and lolled. She invited my wife to lunch saying 2 out of 3 of his girls are going out. She has even started using pressure of showing up at events like a recent barbecue to play a certain image. She hugs me more and holds it, wants to do pictures with just me or my wife, but I always have a few with just me to post with captions I do not like. My wife is getting especially annoyed because of how she is with her. I guess Abby surprised her with Father's Day plans for me that had to be shut down. As it is, she still inserted herself into the day, but she has a soft spot for her, and when Abby gets emotional, she caves. My wife is a sweetheart. I asked him if he's upset with me and he said no. He just wished it was different. He said we're good, but he's worried he and Sally aren't, which is when I took the advice of some people and suggested premarital counseling. He said he would talk about it. Abby is insisting Sally go to her fitting. That shop should be pay-per-view, that potential Royal Rumble, because Sally is not holding back her feelings anymore. I told him Sally loves him and I'll talk to her, but for now it is stressful all around. Abby driving my wife crazy with her ideas for what my girls should be doing, driving me crazy with dad-daughter content, drove Sally to the edge, and oh yeah, last night sent me an email with 3 styles of father-daughter dances and song options. So I'm not feeling any more respected or heard than before. The 6 of us have barely been in the same room in order to let things calm down since Father's Day. which was great until it was a shit show. Sorry this is so long. With all the craziness, this is still the abridged version. We are supposed to meet Friday. Sally's partner and I have a bet going about how bad it will go. So onwards and upwards. Hope you fathers had a less dramatic day than I did. And by chance, does anyone know exactly how bad of a crime I need to commit to enter witness protection? Just curious. 3.5 months after that one. It says, I've gotten requests for updates on my situation. And as I enjoy a refreshing mojito and my wife her nojito, life feels good and the perfect time to amuse the world with my pain and familial drama. Plus a cousin of mine who apparently reads these and knows my situation gave me the convincing argument of, dude, you can't keep people hanging. And how can I argue with that airtight argument? I apologize for how long this is. A lot has happened. My wife's pregnancy is going well. Keeping her as stress-free and pampered as possible has been my focus. It is such a different experience this time, both because of how much more involved I can be and how much better a relationship I have with my wife than I had with my ex. My daughter Sally has been great. Even her partner has been great, helping with the nursery or driving her around when I can't. My wife doesn't know because it is a surprise, but my son has been building a crib for the baby, modeled after the one I built for him and his sister, to show my wife his support. My son is a good man, and he is still in there. He just has a soft spot for Abby, which I guess gets us to the part of the movie where Godzilla shows up and starts busting up buildings. So, I called a family meeting with my kids to talk about the situation. Told John his sister was only doing wedding activities she wanted to, and that the guilting requests needed to stop. That this was hurting his relationship with his sister. Sally was happy I said it, so she did not have to yet again. I told him if he did not stop her from messaging me, I would block her with a bluntly honest explanation why. We got a lot out. John seemed to understand, but then a few days later, they insisted on coming to talk. Sally and I decided we would get everything out. So all of us ate at our place. Abby started in immediately about baby shower stuff, and I told her that this is the kind of thing we wanted to talk about. I told her that I understood she's been trying to fill a hole that she has, that she thought she was getting a father, a second mother. She calls my ex-wife mum apparently, and a sister. I told her it was still possible, but that she needed to start listening to us. I told her that for the sake of family, we'd give her a fresh start. If she agreed that moving forward she would respect our boundaries. My daughter did not love this idea, but loves her brother and was willing to try. Abby tried to say that since we were starting over, we could define what the relationship would be and just be family. We told her we were not ready for that it needs to happen organically. She got mad that I'm closer with my daughter's partner, which is true, but we just get along, and that she deserved it for trying so hard. My daughter said something about trying things we actually want. She ran to our bathroom, he ran after her. After a while, I checked on him. I could hear her repeating, "This is not what I wanted." My wife, daughter, and her partner went out to the patio to give them privacy and salvage the night. After a bit, I got a text saying that they had just left. I checked in with him the next day and he said they talked more at home and she understood. For a couple of weeks, things were good. The text stopped except the occasional wedding question since it was getting closer. She stopped pushing herself on my wife and Sally, and we thought was involving us less in wedding planning out of respect, since as it was, they only got the venue at the rate they did because of my professional connections, and they know I was willing to help out but not interested in helping plan, even if I am good at event planning. But then I got a call from the venue telling me the card I used had been declined. Now this is a specific card I use for big purchases because of the miles, so I knew it had a high limit. That was how I learned that they had changed dates by 2 months despite being informed I would still be out much of the money because it was too close to the date. I was furious. I mean, I've been lucky in my life financially, but I have not blow off deposits like nothing wealthy. Called my son, said he needed to get his ass to the house, just him. They both came. When they arrived, I opened the door. She actually started with, "Dad." I think I just replied, "You got to be fucking kidding me," and walked towards the table. Abby had the nerve to ask where dinner was. My response was not polite as I made it clear that was not why they were here. I hoped my son would not lie to me, so I asked what was going on with the venue. She started going into wedding details, but my son interrupted to tell me they postponed because my ex-wife was unavailable because of a surgery, and he had not told me because he was putting money together to pay for the lost money himself, and he had just reached out to guests to let them know. And that is when Abby's mouth opened. We have extra time to work on our dance. Now, during this time, my wife came home, and I was walking her towards the bedroom when Abby said that. My pregnant wife with me, I said calmly, "I have different feelings about that and will elaborate further shortly," or something like that. Then I laid my wife down and got her water, turned on her symphonic covers of popular songs, and walked back to the table and said something like, "You're out of your fucking mind. Have you even been listening?" I made it clear I was done with this nonsense. We all were, and kinda lost it asking she did not hear us last time because her head was up her ass. She was stunned silent. What a beautiful sound. And looked at me while I, admittedly with little filter, explained what Sally and I thought of our time with her and her attempts to force us to love her without even getting to know us. She started crying and stood up and shouted, "Then what was this even for?" John asked me what she meant, if she meant them, and he started to freak out. She was frantic and said she meant delaying the wedding, because I'm pouring another drink to write this. It was a ploy. My ex-wife and her decided if I had more time, I would come around. Apparently my ex told her not to worry about the money because I am loaded. She has always been bitter. I make so much more than I did when we were married, as if that is out of spite rather than my career arc. I think she did it on purpose, frankly. But she not only told me that lie, she and my ex told John as well. He was distraught, repeating, "You lied to me," as she tried to spin it, but he was letting it out about how much he defended her and covered for her, and she lied to him too. She was defensive and blamed my ex for telling her things and me for being stubborn. She yelled, "Why can't I just fucking call him dad?" And finally, after so long, I heard John respond, "Because he is not your fucking dad." She started crying, and something about his being the one that told her that she could call me that, and he told her that she might be able to eventually, but he had told her again and again to slow down. She started sobbing and went to sit on her chair, but missed and fell on the floor. Appreciating physical humor to break the tension, I admittedly chuckled and hid my mouth behind my drink. This all led to a lot of sobbing. I said I needed to check on my wife, and as I walked out, she was repeating, "I just want him to be my dad too." I came out and he was walking her to the door and apologized. I said not to. They left. He came over a few days later and they said they had a long talk at home. He even asked her if she would have dated him if there was never a chance of being in the family. He believed her when she said yes, but she admitted I was a big draw as well. I was the kind of dad she always wanted. My relationship with Sally is what she always wanted, and the way she said it gave John doubts that she loves him for him. I talked about marriage counseling, how his mother and I tried it, and while it did not save us, it provided clarity and an impartial voice. I pointed out that they both like coming to me, but I cannot be impartial, and if they are trying, then they need to do it for real. Abby texted asking if I was the one who suggested therapy. I responded with, "Does it matter if John wants to?" She asked, "Why is it so bad?" She wants to know what I think, and I just said John is the man whose opinion should matter most to her. They fought due to the text. She agreed to the counseling and the wedding has been postponed. I may have done a dance, so they're in counseling. He said she struggles, but I obviously do not know the details. She is pressing for me and Sally to go to a session with her. Sally told her she did not want to hear Sally unfiltered, and I am not interested. Abby has been leaving Sally alone. She stopped texting me except for the occasional general question, which included some attempt to go deeper. My wife still occasionally spends time with her because she's very into her pregnancy. More so than I like, but it's my wife's call. So that is where we are. Sorry it was so long, but alcohol makes for a poor editor. 1.5 months after that, another update. I was told I should do updates here. People have been asking me to, and to get into what went down on Father's Day at their mother's house. I've been extremely busy these last few months, but I'm enjoying my temporary unemployment and thought of this account because of recent Thanksgiving drama. I'll do an update and then we'll share what happened earlier. Oh, and to whomever made the joke that Abby finally got me to dance, that made me laugh. I shared that with the family. I did think of that when OP said it. OP continued, "My time has been largely caring for my wife. I tend to dote, I know. We're having a boy. We're really excited, though neither of us really had gender preference. I've raised both and both experiences were wonderful. Now we're discussing names. Who are we going to honor? I thought everything had been quiet, but recently found my wife crying and found out I was wrong. Given how busy I've been with work and my wife knowing I would be free again once we got into this month, my wife has kept this to herself. Apparently, Abby has been pushing for one Thanksgiving this year. Things have been quiet with Abby. My son said the wedding blowing up woke her up and that therapy had been helping. But then this. My understanding is that while John has been talking less with his mother because of all that happened, Abby did the opposite. From my wife's telling, Abby dropped by one day with my ex-wife. My wife intensely dislikes my ex-wife because of the lie she spread about my first marriage ending due to infidelity with her. Despite there being no infidelity, and the linear nature of time making it impossible for us to have slept together back then. Before anyone asks, my ex-wife does not actually think there was infidelity. I would get into that, but I am sure I would sound biased. Anyway, so my wife looked at our camera app, saw who it was and called my daughter. Apparently the two of them were keeping things from me because I was working 18-hour days and they did not want me dealing with anything else. I wish they had not done that, but I appreciate the thought. I'm really lucky to have such caring people around me. My daughter called her mum and said something that made them leave in a hurry. She will not tell me what, but she smiles when I ask. I called John, but he was dealing with some hard work news. So I just was there for him and left the other alone. The next day, Abby came back, alone this time. My wife saw it was her and asked her what she wanted through the door. Abby said to apologize. My wife let her in. She's too nice. And after a talk, Abby asked about the whole family getting together for Thanksgiving. My wife said of course. She assumed as much. A couple of days later in our group chat, we were discussing details. Who brings what? And Abby asks what else is needed. I say John already committed, and she asks what about my ex-wife? What should she bring? In the time I've known Abby, she's never made an intentional joke that funny. So I asked what she was talking about, and she mentioned the whole family comment. And my daughter and I both asked what made her think we counted her as family. She actually replied, "She is my family. I don't have a dad who wants me, just a mum, and my mum deserves to be with family on Thanksgiving." Sally replied, "Well, we'll miss you and John then." Abby asks how she can say that. Sally asks how she can be so stupid. John says not to call her stupid, and I say that is fair, but there is no real way she thought my wife thought she meant my ex-wife. At this point, my wife had filled me in. And then, this is so stupid, she uses my son's phone to add my ex-friggin' wife to the group chat. She then thanks us for the invitation and asks what she can bring. As I was typing, my daughter beats me to it and asks what she thinks she is doing. She knows she's not welcome, but says it less politely. My wife types, "You could not have thought she was included when I said family." Abby responded that she was not coming as my family, but as hers. Sally let her mum have it. She is already not talking to her much and said if my ex-wife is there, then she is not. I mentioned there was never a chance X was going to come, and I said I understand Abby and John wanting to go to their mum's house, so she is not alone. John typed, "Plans not definite, we'll let you know." He has since told me that he is not going to his mum's place, but wanted to tell Abby alone first. All I can think about is the comment about not having a dad who wants her, because it means she is still thinking about me as a dad, I believe. Just a negligent one. I mentioned that to my son and he said he noticed it too and has brought it up at therapy. Because family is such a frequent topic, though I obviously do not know the details. Wow, I thought this would be brief, but that was a lot. I will get into the crazy stories later if there are people seeing this who want me to. I do not know how posting from here works in terms of anyone seeing it, but this has been good to get out. OP comes in with a mini update almost a month later. This was on December 13th, 2024. And it said, "I do not have time to elaborate right now, but I'm so excited I had to share this. Thanksgiving went so badly that my son called off the engagement itself and is now going to stay at our place while he figures out his next step. He came over Sunday night exhausted and asked if he could use the guest room, and we talked for a couple of hours. I understand a bit more why he felt trapped now, but he realizes if she does not see her issues, then he cannot help her with them. I'm taking him and his sister for a fun day on Saturday to just have some fun. He looks so tired and just needs some fun. Hopefully, while yes, things are messy, he's moving in a better direction for himself. People here have been great and genuinely seem to be rooting for him, which I appreciate. So I just thought I would share the good news. Happy holidays, especially mine, as he told her she was not invited. So it was 5 months after that, May 14th, 2025, Opie comes in again and says life has been busy but great, but I have a lot of requests for an update, and people here have been really great, so I figured that I should. To start, my wife and I have an adorable sleeping potato. He has made us both so happy. My wife, sleepy as she may be, is the happiest I've ever seen her. I had paternity leave, and then various family took over helping my wife. My kids have been great about helping. My daughter has been having fun with her brother for the first time in a while. I'm not going to provide details because my wife would not appreciate that, but I will just say that my wife had a scare late in her pregnancy, which led to my kids really being there for her. And they pretty much have been since. They even got in my Mother's Day celebration for her. My wife loves it. She is really feeling the love. My kids are doing great. Great news is that my daughter and her partner are engaged. They have a very specific idea of what they want to do, and I was asked to walk both of them down the aisle. That was too much for me. I'm not a big crier, but I admit I contributed to the happy tears we had while all hugging. My daughter asked my son to be her best man. They are both having a best man and maid of honor, which makes me deeply happy, because I do not think it had been her choice a year ago. They're definitely getting their relationship back to normal. My son had work issues because of federal cuts and had to change jobs, but he's really happy where he is now. I used money I had saved for his wedding and bought him a getaway trip. With the job stress following the personal stress he dealt with, my kid needed time away. No Abby, no job stress, no family. I think we're pretty great, but we spend a lot of time together, and I figured he might need a week away from us too. It was not easy separating from Abby. She and his mother made it difficult for him. My ex-wife tried seeing him through Abby, and my son was having none of it, especially after a public tantrum at his old job. It was a public-facing position with his office info online. That really embarrassed him. She would not dare do that to Sally. Neither of my kids have anything to do with her. Abby made a couple of dramatic attempts to get my son back, but my son was clear with her. She's been cut out of his life and he's visibly relaxed. He's living in a new place, close to his new job. He even mentioned putting himself out there a little while ago. A couple of months ago, a young woman joined our shop. She is very personable, funny and attractive. Our work includes receptions and work socializing, so I've gotten to know her a little. She seems fun. She has mentioned dating and being single a couple of times when we have talked, so I asked my son if it'd be okay to give her his number if she was interested, and he was. They'd gone out a couple of times. It does not sound like a great fit, but when he was talking about how attractive she was, I could see he was enjoying meeting new women again, which frankly all I really hoped for. It got him excited to go out again and got him some confidence back. So whatever happens, it was successful as far as I'm concerned. So things are really good. And there is going to be a wedding. I have been helping plan it, their ideas of course. It feels like we've gotten through something together. Now I'm over here shepping natches? That's a new one on me, just overflowing with joy. Our little one, eventually an upcoming wedding, and my son smiling consistently again. I really appreciate all of you wonderful people and all your good advice and well-wishing. Life is so much easier now. Babies require time, but they are drama-free. Apparently, during all this, there was some drama that happened during the Thanksgiving, and people was asking OP to expand on it. So OP did leave a comment below this one saying, for Thanksgiving, it was my wife and I, Sally and her partner, a couple of friends of my kids who do not have much family and were basically adopted when they were all teens, and John. He just wanted quiet and thought Abby and his mother were eating with their group. About an hour into it, the doorbell started ringing emphatically. I looked through the peephole. My ex-wife and Abby were standing there. Abby had a half pan of macaroni and cheese, and my ex-wife for some reason had a bag from fast food, but was holding it like it was her contribution. I called for my son and told him to deal with them. He opened the door and his mum said hello so pleasantly and tried to walk past him, but he stopped her. Abby said the entire family needed to be together, and my son just told her to stop it and asked for a minute with them. So I went inside and told everyone, rightly worried about how Sally would react. She got up and marched towards the door, opened it, and just unloaded. Her partner was right behind her, but was pulling up video on her phone. It was something like, "What the hell is wrong with you, you crazy manipulative ... And just years worth of held in anger, was projectile vomited over my ex-wife and Abby, and then ex-wife again. My ex-wife got so mad, she yelled, "Shut up!" grabbed the Pyrex that the mac and cheese was in and threw it down. I assume it expected it to shatter. It just thud and was intact, though cracked, it looked like. Everyone was silent and she just picked it up. I admit I laughed at that, so I stepped in. My laughing started to set my ex-wife off, but my son jumped in, not yelling but firm. He told her he did not know if he wanted anything to do with her anymore, but if she did not back off, the answer was no for sure. He looked at Abby and asked her why she keeps doing this. How has it not gotten through her head? With that, he said, "What is wrong with you? I really am asking." He pointed out what he said to her versus what she kept doing. She started sobbing, turned and slapped my ex-wife and ran to their car and drove away, stranding my ex-wife, who had the fucking nerve to chuckle and say, "That was an overreaction," and ask my son for a ride home. My kids told her she could not even use their Lyft apps. She kept arguing about coming inside. I pointed out it was a safe neighborhood with a park nearby she could wait at. I know it was petty, but I said, "Hold on, I do want to help." So I went to the kitchen, got a spoon and went back and stuck it in the macaroni and cheese and told her that way she could eat while she waited. Kids laughed, so I sent them in, so it would not escalate even more, and I stepped outside and shut the door behind me and made it very clear that she was not to come back and said some other select words. She was clearly about to yell, so I pointed out it was a quiet neighborhood and that would likely get the police called. She stomped away and I have not seen her since. Bloody hell, I don't know why it's so funny, the thought of that Pyrex dish bouncing off the floor like that. That tickled me, that did. But it was a month later that OP comes in with another update, which was just titled "She's Someone Else's Problem," and says, "This will probably be my last one of these because everything is normal and good again. My daughter's wedding is pretty well planned. It is going to be relaxed and small, 40 to 50 people. My daughter is so happy with the location and how it's going. It makes me so happy. Seeing her so happy. This is the best feeling and exactly what a wedding should be. Plus my daughter is really taken to my wife helping plan it. She has a good eye for design and it has given us something to focus on that is not our little one. Her partner joined me on an overnight fishing trip recently. We got to drink and bond, and she told me that she wanted me to walk her down the aisle too. I told her I already agreed to. She was checking that my yes was sincere and not just to be nice. I told her our family is better because of her joining it and that I was deeply honored that she wanted me to. We hugged and drank and talked about how wonderful my daughter is. It really is a feeling of peace to see your child with someone who is great and who respects as well as cares for them. I know they have discussed adoption eventually. They would be wonderful parents and my son would be a great uncle." That was my smooth transition to my son. He's doing well. He's dating a woman he met at my synagogue at a singles event. She seems very sweet. She teaches in the Hebrew school and they have gone out a few times. I am just happy he seems his old self, like before Abby. So to Abby. She's engaged in someone else's problem. My son still has some friends in common with her and someone let him know. He did not want any details, but my daughter, to no one's surprise, went online, fake account, onto social media. I came home one day to her and my wife going through her pictures and posts. They've been in love for 150 years. It is the truest of all loves, that since the invention of the kiss, there have been 5 kisses rated the most passionate, the most pure, and they have left them all behind. The guy looks like an older and bolder version of my son, to the point that when my daughter showed him to me, she said, "Look, John really let himself go." I tapped out looking at more. But I can tell you that her pictures have several of her with the guy's father. And yes, they have captions about her dad. May God have mercy on his soul. I feel like the guy from the beginning of It Follows, foisting her a different father to save myself and family. But what can I say? We did not have to outrun Abby, just outrun a different father. Which brings us up to now, a little over 5 months later, which is titled The Final Update. And says probably my last one of these. I've had several people ask me to post something after the wedding, and so many of you have been great, so I thought I would. It was crashed. Idea, it was beautiful. It was about a month ago at a large home by a lake, driving distance to a fun city where we went to have fun the following day. It was really great. There are about 30 people, not including the brides, my wife, my son and myself. We set it up the night before and it looked very nice. Our rabbi came and did the talking, and they said their own vows which were really beautiful. My daughter cried when her wife spoke. Her wife cried when my daughter spoke. The part that was the hardest for me was the walk down the aisle. I was asked by both my daughter and her wife, still very cool to say, to walk both of them down the aisle, which was very touching and a big honor for me. I've become pretty close with my daughter-in-law, besides some things we have in common. She's smart, kind, thoughtful. Look, I know my daughter can and does take care of herself, but it does not mean you worry less or think people are good enough to be your kid's partner. And I know I am biased, but my daughter is the best. Both of my kids are, and it's just nice to watch your child marry someone that looks like a great person to be a partner. I've been married to the wrong person and to the right, and I have felt the dread of watching a child to start to choose something wrong for them. To see my daughter marry someone I really believe will have her back and want the best for her was the most incredible feeling. I think they're going to be great. The three of us held hands as we walked down the aisle. They both hugged me at the front and said I love you. I may have held on to that hug an extra moment in order to collect myself. It is a moment I will cherish all my life. My son was my daughter's best man. The ceremony was beautiful. The reception was a lot of fun. We went from main group to smaller, and fun continued through the next day. There was a hot tub on the deck, which the few kids that were there found the coolest thing ever. No one had bathing suits obviously, but towards the end 2 cousins around 8 and 9 years old took their dress suits off and jumped in their underwear. One also left his socks on, which for some reason I find really, really funny. It was a great time. My daughter and her wife had a great time. I'm grinning even now thinking about it. My son is doing well. He's going to be moving in a bit because of a new job. It is a bit farther than I would like, but it's a great opportunity that he worked hard and earned, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the both of them. I tried my best, but my first marriage was not good. Their mother is not easy, and I know I made and make mistakes with them, but they are both so great, such good, kind people. My daughter in her dream field and married to someone great, and my son with a better sense of himself, being resilient and strong and embarking on something big that takes some guts. My wife is great. Right now she's in planning mode for the holidays and seems intent on hosting everything this year. I know it means less travel. It will be fine. It will be fun. My little one is already less little. Already. When did this happen? Anyway, to anyone reading this, happy holidays. Hope everyone gets to spend time with whomever your company of choice is, and anyone in relationships that you know are not good. Learn from my son who stayed in a bad relationship too long. He was not stupid for not seeing it sooner. Neither are you. He was not weak for staying as long as he did. Neither are you. But he is so much happier for leaving, and you will be too. Ending a bad relationship is like saying about planting a tree. Sure, you wish you did it a while ago. Next best time is now. Happy holidays, everyone. Hug your loved ones, and if you are your only loved one, maybe hug twice as hard. Shalom all. And a couple of comments from the top. This is your best post yet. So happy for your daughter and her wife, and also for your son to be embracing new ventures. I bet your wife's holiday plans will be perfect, as you'll be together. Happy holidays to you all. Opie says we have 2 turkeys in the garage freezer already. It will be great for exactly the reason you said. We will be together. So much to be thankful for. Happy holidays to you. Commodore says congratulations, great update. Was your ex-wife invited to the wedding or involved? Opie says my kids have both cut contact with their mother. My daughter gave her a chance to prove herself, and my ex-wife, well, she cannot help being herself and obliterated any last bit of the bridge that was unburned and still standing. My daughter said something you cannot take back. Did it on purpose to sever their tie. I was worried my daughter would be upset, but she seemed nothing but relieved. Commodore says, I remember the saga of Abby. Yeah, with loads of shocked faces, and says, yeah, that about sums it up. So happy for you and your family. Hope it stays that way with some peace and harmony thrown in for good measure, because that ensures an Abby-free life, as peace and harmony seem to be some of the last things present when she's around. Happy December times to all. And OP replies one last time saying, it's been a long time since I've heard anything about her, which is great, but more importantly, my son really seems to be doing great. Nothing romantic has clicked, but the mistrust is melting away, and he's in a much better headspace, which is great. Plus his upcoming move and career path has him excited, as I have seen him in a long time, which makes me so happy. Have a happy whatever makes you happy. Bloody hell, I can't imagine the feeling of relief that OP must be feeling to have Abby out of that situation. You know, she went from calling him dad after 3 months of dating, then all this stuff with the ex-wife trying to manipulate wedding dates, you know, to getting... Now she's engaged with another family doing the exact same pattern again. It's wild, isn't it? And I like there was almost like lots of little stories going on within one story. Like John's story in this was fascinating as well. Like for probably all of us, and you know, John would probably say himself, he stayed way too long in what was going on in that situation, but he was genuinely trying, but finally woke up when he realized that Abby lied to him about the wedding delay, and then was like, shit. And then just kind of realized that Abby was after some kind of like fantasy family, if you like. But towards the end there, OP walked in his daughter and his daughter-in-law and said he had a little moment there when he was giving him a hug. I tell you what, I was having a little moment there myself. but so relieved for OP and his family. It sounds like things are moving in a great direction for them all, and I really do wish them all the best moving forward. But what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Bloody hell, this one's gone on for a while. Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.